Yo, what's up? What's going on, everybody? That's right, the Boxing Source checking in here on Monday, July 1st. And tonight, I am glad to have on a legendary announcer in boxing. He is a prominent figure in the sport, particularly in the Washington, D.C. area, as he has been the premier ring announcer in the area for decades. And that's right, folks, man. I'm finally ready to do this. So let's step to this by bringing in Henry Discombobulating Jones. What's going on?
Oh man, I'm gonna be like Buffer and sue you for using my tagline, but you did it expertly. We're ready to do it, so let's step to it. It's a pleasure and certainly an honor for me to be here on your podcast, James Bell. I've been looking at you for a few years now, and certainly that you have your finger on the pulse of the boxing public. So, thank you for having me on tonight.
Oh, not a problem, not a problem. I just wanted to definitely have you on here, have this conversation on, what's been going on. So big thanks for you joining me here this evening. And, how have you been, man? Because, we talked over the weekend. So how have you been, over the past few weeks? I know you've been doing your thing with, announcing, not just here in the DC area, but, outside the DC area, like in Philadelphia and things like that.
I see you've been following me. That's exactly right. I go up to Philadelphia probably once a month, all the way up to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Wind Creek Casino, all the way down to Lynchburg, Virginia. So I'm up and down the East Coast, and the promoters appreciate, what I bring to the table. And it only gets bigger and better from there. We have a new promoter coming on board in DC. I met with the representative today, and I could tell you who it is. Javante Tank Davis has his own promotional company now, and his first fight card is September 14th in DC on Georgia Avenue at the place called the Hook venue. So we're excited about that as well because Javante Tank Davis knows boxing, so he knows the fighters that we need to see that he knows can become champions. So eventually we want to have a DC Baltimore rivalry going, and that's just going to help the sport overall.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. You're definitely gonna have GTD promotions there. With Garante Davis, and with him, having his first card coming up in September. That a lot of people will be definitely interested in that. So, like I said, you pretty much been busy there. You said like you're also over in Lynchburg, Virginia. Man, I don't know if I'd be going over to Lynchburg, Virginia.
Well, that's funny you should say that because the promoter, I don't know if you remember him, a former world class fighter named Scott Cujo Sigmund,
Mm.
or Roy Jones and Kelly Pavlik, some other people. So he monetized that and he's putting on fight cards in Lynchburg, Virginia. So when he called me about a year ago, uh, I said, where is it? And he told me the name of the city. I said, I don't know about going down there. He said, and this guy is so real, man. White guy, so real. He said, no, they don't do that to black people. They don't do that to black men down here anymore. I said, I hope the hell not. And they show me nothing but love and respect, man. So sometimes the people that don't look like you have your best interests at heart, and sometimes the one that look like you may not.
Hmm.
That's been my experience for 36 years now. The person that helped me most doesn't look like me, and that's Michael Buffer. My mentor. The Let's Get Ready to Rumble guy.
Yep.
And so I don't go by color anymore. I go by man's character.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, sometimes it be, the people that you may not expect to help you out the most that they'll end up doing it.
That's right.
So kind of like, gotta take that for what it is and be thankful for it, for those opportunities once they arise.
Exactly.
Now, last weekend we had chopped it up
Yeah.
there at the fight card that was headlined by Lamont Roach Jr.
Yeah.
against Trevor McCrory out there. That
Mm-hmm.
was no excuse boxing promotions card.
Mm-hmm.
Featured a number of boxers out there in the DC area. However, with the thing being on Pro Box TV, they had it where the announcer was their Pro Box TV announcer. It wasn't local announcer. It wasn't Discombobulating Jones. Man,
Yeah.
share your thoughts on that.
Well, it's been par for the course for my 36 years. Every time TV comes to town, they seem to want to bring somebody else that doesn't look like me or you. And if it's Buffer or Lennon, I have no problem with that. That's creme de la creme. I've worked with both of them. They're great guys, and certainly can take nothing away from them. But anybody else, they should be doing undercards for me. And I didn't even do the undercard last Friday for that pro box, ring
Hmm.
announcer. I don't know if I would have. Be perfectly honest with you, I don't know if I would have at this stage in my life. It's kind of like a sign of disrespect that I'm doing undercards for unknown Caucasian ring announcers. Let's just call it like it is. My legacy is pretty much established. I know I don't have 36 more years to announce. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to have open auditions up and down the East Coast to find my successors, plural, in those various cities that I've been going to. And
Hmm.
so I've got lots of responses, and so we're going to film them for a possible pilot for a reality show,
Hmm.
and so, we well along, the lines of doing that. So stay tuned, bigger and better things to come. So, I didn't get that assignment last Friday, but I'm going to let it be a small thing to a giant.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And I know that you had mentioned a thing there about looking for other ring announcers come up there. I think you had mentioned that in I think it was Jordan White's last fight thing that they had there over at the Entertainment and Sports Arena. So
That's correct.
yeah, there've been like you said, a few people that have stepped up to kind of like had that particular opportunity. I don't know if I'll be able to do all that. I'm not all too sure. You know what I'm saying?
Now we want you to audition, and if you're not good, I just like Rakim's song says, drop the mic. You shouldn't be holding it. And this
Yeah.
is the mic. See, this
Yep.
is the golden mic that I'm going to symbolically award people to get to the next level of ring announcing.
Yeah, for
That's
sure,
right.
for sure. Now, I mentioned earlier, of course, you've been a staple in the DC boxing scene as you've been an announcer for, of course, these local fight cards. But kind of like go back into, when you mentioned, Michael Buffer being an influential person there
Hmm.
for you to start off as a ring announcer.
Hmm. Yeah. So I met Buffer back in 1988 up in Rochester, New York. That's my hometown. So Oscar De La Hoya had a fight card up there because he was targeting a guy named Charles the Natural Murray, who had a junior welter, IBF junior welterweight title. So he wanted that title. So he actually put on a fight card in Rochester. So I contacted the promoter up there. He said, well, they're bringing in Buffer, but why don't you come anyway? I said, oh, okay. So I, went up there. I dressed the part and everything. I got the information, because you never know. A plane might get delayed or,
Hmm.
I was praying that the guy would come down with laryngitis, but God don't bless no mess.
Hmm.
So anyway, I was there at ringside when he showed up, and I stood up and introduced myself. And I said, you got my job this evening. He said, oh, you must be Jones. The promoter told me about you. He said, nothing personal, just business. I said, no, I'm just kidding. I said, actually, I would like to sit by you and just observe, because I think I'm serious about trying to do this. He said, no problem. You can tell me who's who and what's what, because, I don't know, who these people are other than De La Hoya. I said, okay. So at the end of the night, the TV was off. It was two bouts left. He says, it's a shame you all dressed up, no place to go. And he handed me the microphone. He said, so why don't you go? I said, really? He said, yeah, let me see what you got. He sat there for two bouts. And at the conclusion of the second bout, he said, you got chops. And in the vernacular, that means you got a voice. You know what to say, how to say it. He said, I don't know why I'm being led to do this, but I'm going to help you. Just like that. And
Hmm.
so he's had me on stage at Madison Square Garden. He kept his word. He opened up Radio City Music Hall when Roy Jones fought there, Philadelphia, Blue Horizon. List goes on and on. So I wrote a book. He wrote the foreword for the book. Bam! And here it is. It's called It's More Than a Notion. And if you could see, the forward was written by who? Michael Buffer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, you gotta plan your work your plan, but you gotta be ready for the moment as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to see with ring announcers to succeed me. If they have what it takes. A lot of them want to jump in the ring right now. I said, no, that's not how it works. You got to pay your dues. I want
Mm-hmm.
to know that you're very serious about it because you'll be representing me, really.
Yeah.
With other promoters that I refer you to. So it's coming along well. It's coming along well. So I'll definitely keep you posted on that. The other thing is, I'm part of the Ring 101 organization over in Baltimore, and I'm spearheading an international effort to have a statue erected in honor of the first black world boxing champion in history. Do you know who that is?
You said it was Joe.
Joe Gans. That's correct. Lightweight champion. Most people don't even know about him, but he was the first one 6 years before Jack Johnson. People think Jack Johnson is the first, but he's the first black heavyweight champ. Joe Gans was the first black champion, period. And he was a lightweight champion. He's considered the best lightweight champion of all time. And we don't even know that. And if you recall, maybe what probably about 50 years ago, the movie Blazing Saddles, Gene Wilder was riding through the desert on a horse and he said, Joe Gans just won by 10th round knockout. And we had no idea who the man was talking about, but he was giving props to Joe Gans at the time.
Mm.
So we have Mike Tyson on board because Mike Tyson's a historian. He talks about Joe Gans on
Oh
his
yeah.
podcast all the time. We have Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott on board. We have the newly elected governor Moore of Maryland on board as well, and other people. So it's not going to be a hard sell. Javante Davis grew up in the same neighborhood of Baltimore as Joe Gans, the
Mm-hmm.
Sandtown area. So he's on board, have his name on the pedestal along with Hasim Rahman, Vincent Petway, and Franchon Cruz. Those are the four champions from Baltimore. So it's
Yep.
probably about a 3-4 year project. So it's going to be big internationally. So we'll definitely keep you posted.
Yeah, for sure. And you got that tie there, man. As far as like history, you got Joe Gans being the first black champion there from Baltimore, being that lightweight, and here you go, fast forward to today, and you got Gervonta Tank Davis as a lightweight world champion. So it
As
all ties
the
together.
at now, let's quantify that
Mm-hmm.
as the lightweight champion and the face of boxing.
In the face of boxing. Yep, there you go. There you go. So that, yeah,
That's
that's
right.
definitely a great project there.
It is.
For the city of Baltimore. And, we're, like I
Yeah.
said, we're going to keep up with you as far as like getting updates on that and
Okay.
following up with you on that part too. Now, another thing in reference to, you getting into ring announcing, I think that like, what is it? One of your family members also like, helped you, assisted you while you were doing that.
I've had a few people, but certainly my sister, Ibina, who's the president of my fan club, has been very instrumental, in helping me along the way, especially when I got, kind of like despondent at times because I wasn't getting those mainstream assignments.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me, she said, well, bro, we're from a spiritual family, and what God got for you, no man can stop. They can just delay. And sure enough, it came to probably manifestation one night. We were at the Armory, and it was Jay Z. If you remember, he had a boxing promotional company at the time.
Mm-hmm.
His first signee was our local guy, Dusty Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
And so he put on a fight card at the Armory on BET. Now
Yep.
get this picture. On BET, Jay Z is the promoter, and they brought in Dave Diamante, Caucasian ring announcer with the dreadlock.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that just was to me such a sign of disrespect. And so my sister told me, she said, bruh, and echoed by my wife, they both said, you got to let go and let God because this thing is eating you and like a cancer. And sure enough, when I did let go and let God, I got a call to go to China a couple months later, and I announced for Manny Pacquiao Promotions in China.
Mm.
See? So
Yeah.
one door closed, a, a window opens, bigger
Hey.
and better at that.
Mhm.
So and that's how it's been for me. And as of late, even though I don't get certain assignments, I realize that, they weren't meant to be for me because there are greater things in store.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now, I mean, you mentioned that thing there with Manny Pacquiao Promotions in China. I'm not sure, but that was going to be part of like my next question for you. Like, what has been a moment in ring announcing that has stood out to you over the years? If it isn't, being at China for that particular event.
Oh man, good, bad, and ugly. Actually, it's been a lot of moments. I'll start with the good, and that
Mm-hmm.
was February 22nd, 1998, at the DC Armory on ESPN, and our local guy who became world champion, Mark Too Sharp Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
wrote it in his contract for me to be the ring announcer. Now, understand, 10 years prior to that, when he and I both started out, we both had division. He said, and it was his first bout at Coolidge High School. I didn't even know him, but I saw the unmistakable talent. So after he won by knockout that night, I approached him. I said, young man, I don't know who you are, but I see that you're going to become world champion. He said, you see that too? And when he said that, that let me know he had vision for himself. He said, man, I like how you introduced me, man. Felt like I could have punched through a brick wall, man. You got the gift. He said, so when I become world champion and fight at home, I'm going to make sure you my ring announcer. Sure enough, 10 years later, he made both our dreams come true, by putting it in his contract. So that was the good. The bad, uh, it's been a lot of bad. But I think probably and the ugly at the same time. I'm gonna combine those two.
Mm-hmm.
So Buffer had me do the undercard at Madison Square Garden for Riddick Bowe and Andrew Galata, July 12th, 1996. I don't know if you remember what happened that night.
Oh man.
The
Oh boy.
worst riot in
Yeah.
boxing history.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bedlam.
Oh yeah. It
Bedlam,
was wild. Yeah,
man.
like the thing with Bo. Who was this promoter? Oh my goodness.
Rock
Was he?
Newman.
Yeah, Rock Newman. Yeah, I was like, man, goodness, man. And the thing with Rock too is like you fast forward to now when you see Rock Newman doing the shows that he's doing, it's like, man, like it's been a long way because it almost seems like two different things. Seeing Brock Newman as a promoter and now having the conversations there. With all the prominent figures there in history too. So yeah, that was crazy.
It was crazy, man. Um, so that was the bad and the ugly. I had never seen nothing like that before, and hadn't seen anything like that since. Thank God. Let me go back to a good. Matter of fact, a great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you see this medal? This is a lifetime presidential achievement award that I got from the White House
Yeah.
for being first prominent black ring announcer in history.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they will open up doors to allow me to be inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame up in Canastota. I
Mm-hmm.
might need you to help start a campaign. You understand?
Yay.
I
Hey,
mean,
yeah, you said it. You said it. Because I mean, listen, I was out there for the induction ceremony in 2022 where they had combined the past 3 years from 2020,
all because
2021,
of the
and
pandemic.
2022.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I saw that whole experience, and it was a great experience, at least for me. But that was mainly because of a lot of those inductees were a lot of the fighters that I had grew up watching and stuff like that, right?
Hmm.
But just getting into like who's involved with it and that type of stuff in the media,
Yeah.
it's like it's almost similar to like the baseball Hall of Fame, and you know how some people kind of criticize the people that are
Hmm.
involved with the Baseball Hall of Fame. Just being real, that International Boxing Hall of Fame is pretty much similar to that to
It
me,
is. It
right?
is.
So I feel like, man, it might take some years or something, but I'm gonna find a way to get up in there. I'm gonna find a way to get up in there. And I had told when I was out there, I had a conversation with, of course, two-time world champion there at welterweight, Showtime Sean Porter, and I
Hmm.
said, "Hey, man, I don't know one way or another. I'm gonna try to get you up in the International Boxing Hall of Fame." And so for Henry Discombobulating Jones, I'm gonna find a way to
Appreciate you.
do the same thing.
I
I'm gonna
appreciate you,
get
man.
you there in the Hall of Fame
You
for
know,
sure,
and
for sure.
the executive director up there, Ed Brophy, told me
Okay,
that I was a serious candidate for it, and I
okay.
told him, well, let's do it now and not posthumously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
Well, I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
smell
I'm gonna
those
have to hit him up.
roses.
I'm gonna have to. I think I still got his email address, man. I'm gonna hit him up. I'm gonna be like, hey,
Thank you.
we're
I
gonna have to have a
appreciate it.
conversation.
I appreciate it, man.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate. It's just so much more um, in store, and I'm in a race against time. We all are, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll be 69 coming up, man. I look like a spring chicken, but I'm an old turkey, man. And thank God I still got my good health. So I want to do a lot of things in a short window period of time, and so the time is now. There's no better time than now. you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking forward, to a lot of initiatives. I don't know if you know my educational background, but I have a master's degree in social work. I retired from DC government 5 years ago, working with youth,
Mm.
to empower them. So I still have the passion for that. So I'm going to continue to do that, until my last breath, because, there's a lot of young males that need to see positive black male role models.
Exactly.
And I had this conversation just yesterday about LeBron and Bronny. That was the most spectacular thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You can call it nepotism if you want to, but that was him controlling the narrative and leveraging his power
Yeah.
with the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
He made his dream come true for himself and his family. What's
Yeah.
wrong with that?
Yeah.
Bronny
Exactly.
might not stay in the league, but that's beside the point. He got him there. Now it's up to Bronny to stay there.
Yeah. To
But
stay there.
that's what you're
Exactly.
supposed to do.
Yep.
Everybody else been doing it for years. Why
Right.
not?
I mean, it's not like you had the whole thing a few years ago with LeVar Ball getting his kids in the NBA and pushing for his kids to be part of the NBA and
That's
whatnot.
right.
Of course, some of them had a lot of the skills and everything like that.
Right.
But with Bronny, they still said that he had those intangibles and everything like that, and he was doing well in the camps too.
Yeah.
So even with that, getting your son to be on and showing him the game and showing him things that happen not just there in the court, but definitely outside of the court. Because
That's right.
a lot of the times with some of these pro athletes, you get there, you quote unquote get the bag, and
Right.
then you could slip up. So
That's
at
right.
least you have someone there that's already been part of the game, been there over 20 years, and has been solid. That that he'll be able to direct you properly with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, remember the Rick Barry?
Yeah.
He had three sons in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Three. Nobody
Yep.
criticized him for that.
Nope.
They were good.
Not.
They were good. I give them props. One of them won the slam dunk contest,
Mm-hmm.
as I recall.
Brent Berry. And then you
That's
got
right.
another example, right?
Right.
Charlotte Hornets had Del Curry. Who came in later? Steph Curry. Then,
Greatest
of
shooter
course,
of all
Steph Curry.
time. That's
Yep.
right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So definitely had to do that, man.
Yeah.
A
You
real
know,
quick, man, on the chat here, live chat. Mrs. Just Do in the building. Good evening to you, of course. And it says, hey, this is a great conversation, of course, with the legendary Henry Discombobulating Jones,
hey,
and of
Miss
course.
Just Do.
You got, of course, my guy or our guy
Light skin
Luke
Lou.
Peterson.
What's up,
Hmm.
light skin Lou?
That's right. That's right. And he
Appreciate you,
says,
brother.
And he says, "Yeah, we got to get you in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, man. Yeah, that's what
Thank
I'm
you.
talking about. That's what I'm
Thank you,
talking
brother.
about." And shout out to Lance Meyer here in the building. There says, "Hey, Boxing Source Henry, what's up, y'all? Yeah, what's good with you, man? What's
Hey,
good?"
Lance. You know,
Yeah.
I also want to give a shout out to other promoters too. Locally, Eric Davis
Yes,
Boxing
Davis
Promotions,
Boxing
been putting on
Promotions. Yep.
fight cards at the entertainment and sports arenas. Next one is August 3rd. That's
Mm-hmm.
going to be a good card. Prior to that, I'll be at Maryland Live Casino with Jetter Promotions. So shout
Yes.
out to Tony and Kristen Jetter as well for bringing me on board. They're going to have a nice card July 20th. And this past week, I don't know if you knew about the amateur boxer that had gotten killed over in Odenton by the
Mm.
name of Isaiah Olubimi. Um, he was a local high school legend in football,
Yeah, I think it was a
wrestling,
standout. Yeah, in the amateur boxing. Yeah, I did hear about that
and he
show. Yes.
became an amateur boxing standout. He went up to Detroit and won the Nationals, and he upset the number one and two ranked guys in the entire country, which had never been done.
Mm-hmm.
So he's about to turn pro, and he was well on his way. So I did a 10 count for him out in Elk Ridge, Maryland, this past Friday. Standing room only, man. He was beloved. So we're gonna dedicate that July 20th card at Maryland Live Casino in his honor. So please come out if you can.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now, you did mention the thing there, of course, with the medal there, the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, and also you're a inductee of the Washington D.C. Boxing Hall of Fame and the
Yes.
Rochester, New York Boxing
Oh, you
Hall
do
of
your
Fame.
homework. Okay.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
see.
Now, what does it mean for you, at least up to this particular point, to get the recognition that you have received as a ring announcer?
Yeah. I'm just grateful. I'm blessed. I'm humble with it. It doesn't go to my head because I realize that um, there's something greater in store. I'm just a vessel to motivate others, especially our youth, that there's a better way. You know, refrain from the violence. As I said earlier, work your plan your work. Everybody got talents. You got to find out what yours are. I
Hmm.
don't know if you know this part of it, but I failed miserably at a whole lot of other things. This is not an overnight success for me. I
Hmm.
started off trying to be a color commentator. That didn't work out. They only wanted Sugar Ray Leonard and George Foreman at the time. I tried to be color commentator for the ABA, the Red, White, and Blue Basketball League. I
Hmm.
answered an ad in Sports Illustrated to audition, and the closest place to DC was Philadelphia. I drove to Philly. Isn't that full circle? Now I'm going to Philly now once a month, but this was back in early '80s, probably about '83, '84. I drove to Philly, and out of 300 people, I finished third. Third.
Hmm.
And the winner went to Madison Square Garden to announce the ABA All Star Game. So that's how close I was. I tried to be a comedian. I got hit with eggs on stage one night. The yoke was on me. Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't laugh either. The yoke joke. Yeah,
Yeah,
now he
yoke's on
laughing.
me.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. Yeah. So I tried that. That didn't work out. And went back to the DC Boxing Commission with my idea to be a color commentator. And the deputy commissioner at the time, may he rest in peace now, Mr. Gilbert Ware, he said, well, we don't have any TV contracts, but obviously you're articulate, boxing. He said, if you want to be on the microphone, he said, why not, be a ring announcer? I said, no, I wasn't thinking about that. And he gave me that epiphany moment. You could see something just for you. Eureka. He said,
Hmm.
there have never been any prominent black ring announcers in the history of boxing that anybody knows. Somebody got to be the first one.
Yep.
That was 1988, man. And, it hit me in that moment. I said, wow, yeah, you're right. I haven't seen any black ring announcers. He said, why don't you try it? So here it is 36 years later. And that's how I've become the most prominent black ring announcer in boxing history. Thank God. So it continues because as far as the awards and accolades, August 17th, I go up to Rochester, New York, home for my high school 50th year reunion. I'm
Mm.
the MC for it. But the mayor up there, Evans, is going to give me the key to the city that
Oh,
night.
that's what's up. Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Man, so you can't get much bigger than that. So we're gonna film that also because we have a documentary coming out probably February for Black History Month,
Hmm.
and gonna let the chips fall where they may, man. Sorry, as the youngins say, facts. It is what
Mm.
it is. So it's not gonna portray certain people, in a good light, but it is what it is. And the only you referenced him earlier, the only black promoter that ever apologized for not using me
Mm.
was Butch Lewis. He had a fight card at the Apollo one night.
Ooh.
I tried to get in contact with him, couldn't. He called me about a month later. I said, "Man, what was wrong with that picture?" He said, "What you mean? We had standing room only." I said, "Yeah, I'm sure you did, but at the most iconic venue on the planet for black entertainment, you had a Caucasian ring announcer."
Yeah,
He
like
said,
come on, man.
"Wow, I never thought of that." I said, "I guess you didn't." He said, "No, I left that up to other people, but man, that was a total oversight. You got it from now on." And then he died. I said,
Mm.
"Lord, you must have something great in store for me," because that was going to be a breakthrough moment, you
Hmm.
know. But may he rest in peace. But I appreciate his apology. You know, I take that back. One other person apologized to me, and that was Carl King. You
Mm.
know, Don King's son.
Hmm.
So I was supposed to announce the undercard for Mike Tyson and Bruce Seldon out in Vegas, um, September. I don't know. It was the same weekend Tupac got killed out in Vegas.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
months before that, I did the undercard at the Capitol Center, Landover, Maryland. Don King card, marathon card when Vincent Petway knocked out Simon Brown. You remember that?
Hmm.
I did the undercard, and Jimmy Lennon Jr. was so impressed with me. He said, "Hey, I'd like you to do my undercard out in Vegas." I said, "Yeah." So I flew me and wifey out there. So Carl King sees me, and he gets upset. "I didn't ask you to come out here and do the undercard." I said, "No, Jimmy Lennon Jr. did." He said, "He don't make decisions for Don King Promotions." So we got into it,
Mm.
verbally. And so he wouldn't even give me a pass to get in. So I'm in my feelings for real.
Yeah.
So fast forward, um, 20 something years later, Carl King had a bypass surgery for a heart attack. He said, I came to his mind, actually came into his spirit, that he had done me wrong. And he called me
Hmm.
up and he apologized for what he did to me out in Vegas. I said,
Mm.
"Wow, man." He said, "Yeah, my life was flashing in front of me. And, a lot of situations came to my mind, and you was one of them, man. I shouldn't have done you like that. So I'm asking forgiveness." That's strong. That's how black men, that's how people, period, but especially black men, because iron's supposed to sharpen iron, man. If we
Yeah.
can't help each other, who else going to do it?
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing about it, man. It's like you know how they had that old term, like what is it, like crabs in the barrel, so to speak, or whatever it is, and whatnot. And so it's like you have people that try to pull other people down, and I'm like,
Yeah,
for me, and I'm like, what's the point? I mean, like, we supposed to help each other. We supposed to make things better for who's next or what's
that's
next.
right.
You know what I mean?
You
So
know,
so that was the thing, man.
I got to say something about the crab and barrel thing. It's not that they trying to pull each other down.
Mhm.
It's that they trying to get out.
Yeah,
And you just have to be the one
yeah.
up next, and they trying to use you to get out.
Hmm. Yeah,
You know.
exactly.
So yeah, so we got to do that, man. So that's why I said I appreciate people like Tony Jetter and Scott Cujo Sigmund, because they recognize my talent. They respect me, and that's all you ask for. You might not like me, but respect me. That's all.
Yeah, at the very least. Yeah,
That's all.
for sure, for sure. Now, as far as like the
Oh,
overall
Marshall
boxing,
Kaufman too. Let me throw Marshall
oh yeah,
Kaufman in there as well.
okay, for
That's
sure,
right.
for sure. Now, as far as like the overall boxing scene, like who would you say are like fighters that stand out to you as far as like what they've been doing right now?
Man, we got a new generation of talented guys who I think has what it takes to become champion. You know, I mean, all right. You want me to name them? I'm gonna go with Shaquille Daly. Irvin Fuller, Scooter Davis,
Mm.
George Short Dog White, Dwayne Holmes. Some people gonna get upset because I'm gonna forget somebody. See, you started this, but these are the ones that come to mind. Nasheem Brown, I like
Mhm.
him. Um, ugh, Stephon Hops. Um, I know I'm missing somebody. Ugh,
Like
it's
we
a
had
good
like
list,
a
man.
couple of fighters had their pro debuts there, and Jordan Roach and Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is what, like a 15
And
time
because they
national
have
champ.
pro debuts, I'm gonna wait on that.
Okay.
I gotta see a body of work, not just one
Mhm.
fight.
Yeah.
I gotta see. I like what I saw that night for
Hmm.
sure. But time will tell. Other fighters that I mentioned, they put in some work. 5, 6, 7, 8 fights.
Vice Lou, yeah.
Let's see what happens. But I like what I saw from Jordan and and Ben Johnson. It was so funny because I had the conversation, and I told the ring announcer Pro Box had. I said, "Hey man, I said, how long you been doing this?" He said, "About 6 months." I said, "It shows." He said, "What you mean?" I said, "Well, Jordan Roach had a pro debut and he won, and you said and still undefeated." He said, "Did I say that?" I said, "You
Yes,
absolutely
he
sure did."
did.
I said, "And you said from Bowie, Maryland." He said, "How you pronounce it?" I said, "It's Bowie." I said, "So when you go to a city," I said, "I'm just giving you a word of advice." He said, "No, no, I appreciate it, man. You've been in the game a long time." I said, "Yeah." I said, "When you go to a city, find out who's who and what's what and how you pronounce names." I said, you kind of blew the referee's name. It's not Irarari, it's Irizarry. He
Hmm.
said, "Yeah." He came up to me and corrected me. So he was receptive, and I appreciate that. So going forward, I hear they're gonna come back. So hopefully, I can get on board with Pro Box. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely, man. I might have to, make a few phone calls there, man. With what was it,
I
Gary
can
Jones
mentor
or something
him.
like that and
I
whatnot.
wouldn't mind mentoring him. See,
You
since
know,
I'm mentoring other people, yeah, I
yeah.
can mentor him as well.
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
man. And you mentioned those young standouts that are coming up in the game, and they kind of like carry on that legacy there of what's going on in the DC area in the DMV. Like I mentioned before, there we got a current world champion there in Devontae Tank Davis, who you had multiple legendary fighters that have won world titles, multiple world titles, been like at the top in their division
Yeah.
there. So it's about carrying on that particular tradition there when it comes to the boxing scene within this particular area. And of course, definitely you're one of the prominent figures there as far as like what's been going on in the DC area. And basically, like I said, a staple there in the history in DC boxing and outside of the DC area for sure there.
How much
So
I owe you for this PR plug, man? Huh?
oh no, no, no. See, no, see. I mean that's
I
something
appreciate
I just come up with, man. I just come up off the cuff with it.
I really
That's how it is.
appreciate it. I do.
Yeah,
I do. But you
yeah.
referenced Javante, so let's talk about Baltimore. They got some prospects too. So
Mm-hmm.
I did a card over at Patapsco Arena a couple of weeks ago for Ponytail Promotions. James Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
I like what I see with the heavyweight they have over there, Malik Titus, the super middleweight Tyrell Iron Soldier Boyd, even Malik, I'm not Malik, Mac Allison. He lost that night, but that's
Mm-hmm.
because he went down from 140 to 130, and I don't think that was good for him. I think he lost his strength, doing that. So I
Mm-hmm.
think they're going to correct that. So their next one is September 28th back at the Tapsco Arena. They had standing room only as well. So boxing is alive and well, especially in the DMV.
Oh yeah.
A lot of our fans went over to MMA a few years ago, as you remember. But I think they're coming back now because we're giving the public the fights that they want to see. Spence and Crawford really helped,
Mm-hmm.
really helped, you know. So we have to continue doing that to get our fans back on board, and I think we will.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, we've had a number of these high profile fights happened in the sport of boxing over the past few years. There's been a number of undisputed championship fights, not just with the Spence Crawford, of course, but this year you had the Fury versus Usyk, and you've had a couple of other undisputed world title fights that have happened, over the past couple of years, and also some other high-profile fights that have made the boxing scene, be buzzing once again. So it's just just keeping that going so that more and more fans keep coming back, and new fans are be able to become interested in the sport and have it grow the sport once again there.
That's correct.
So definitely there's that, man. What is it about? So was there like anything else there that you wanted to share with the fans as far as like what's been going on and where they could follow you on social media?
Yes. Okay. Before that, I'd like to give a shout out and condolences. I don't know if you knew this guy named Coach Butch McAdams. He was a renowned voice of choice on the sports scene, had his own radio show, and he just passed. And man, that's a big blow, So I'd like to invite you out to a cookout in his honor, July 21st, if you're available.
Okay, so it's Sunday. That's be a Sunday. Okay,
out La Plata, Maryland.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll get information if you can, because I'll be doing a 10 count for him out there, just like I did yesterday at Tacoma Station restaurant in DC. Standing only there last night, so I was able to do the 10 count for him, and I'll do it again July 21st. So yeah, a lot of renowned people will be there as well, because he was a beloved figure and well respected. Rick Doc Walker, primarily best friend, so he'll be there as well. But yeah, people can follow me on IG, Ring Announcer Jones. I'm still Facebook guy, and that's Discombobulating Jones. Email is therealkokid@gmail.com. So please, look me up. All the fights that I announce, I have discounted tickets for. That's another reason promoters, bring me on board, because I'm a ticket seller, man. The name of the game is put feet in the seat.
That's right.
So it's an honest hustle. 1 year, remember when our local guy Lamont Peterson fought Amir Khan at the new convention center?
Yeah, the convention center. Yeah.
So it was Oscar De La Hoya Promotions. He and Bernard Hopkins. I personally sold $33,000 worth of tickets for them at only 15%, thinking I was going to impress them enough to bring me on board. They gladly took the money, and I never heard from them again. What other ring announcer gonna do that? Nobody. Buffer and Leonard don't have to, and the other ones can't.
Right.
So why would you not hire me? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
I don't get it, man. So the ones with vision, they do. And those are the ones I appreciate, because they appreciate me. But we got some great things coming up. I'm certainly gonna keep you informed. And ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, if you want the news you can use, always tune in, of course, with James Bell and the Boxing Source. God bless you, my brother.
Definitely go cut that. Definitely going to cut that one, man. Thank you very much, there.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course, Henry, the great, the legendary Henry Discombobulating Jones, here with the Boxing Source. I thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me, and definitely going to see you here soon in these boxing cards in the area, my man.
Thank you, brother. God bless.
God bless.
And remember, I'm going to leave you with this also.
Okay.
You can't go 4th on the 5th if you have a 5th on the 4th. July 4th is the most dangerous day of the year. Did you know that? The fireworks, the drinking, the drunk driving.
Hey, listen.
Be careful,
you
people.
You don't know if it's fireworks or it's something else. So yeah, you definitely got to be careful.
Oh man.
Be
careful, people. Have a safe holiday.
Yeah, y'all. Everybody have a safe holiday, man. And we'll catch y'all later here on the Boxing Source. And hey, y'all be on the lookout. We're definitely going to be following up with Henry Discombobulating Jones.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. God
All right.
bless.
No
All
doubt.
right.
God bless.
Peace.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.